Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to a rather windy Edinburgh airport, 4 AM. Today I'm doing a day trip to Dusseldorf. When I booked this maybe 6-7 weeks ago, I thought it was a great idea. Now that I'm actually doing the journey, I'm thinking, it's a very long journey just to get to Dusseldorf. The journey back tonight, because it is a day trip after all, is going to be twice as long, and I have a flight connection with about 5 hours. It's going to be a long day, and as a result I'm going to have about 3.5 hours in Dusseldorf. I am looking forward to it because Dusseldorf is my favorite city in Germany after Berlin, but 3.5 hours, it doesn't give me much time. There is a bit of a theme running in this video today. It's to do with food, and as long as I can get a schnitzel and a beer at lunchtime, I'm going to be a happy man. Now it is 4 o'clock, it is 3 hours before departure, and that's a little bit early. The plan was to originally catch the bus from Glasgow Airport at 3 AM, but I thought I'm just going to be sitting in the house watching the clock, because I don't sleep before flights. It's the Disneyland effect. Too excited, too many things going through my mind. So I thought, instead of hanging around until 3 AM, why not catch the bus from Glasgow Airport at 2 AM? I get here an hour early, I can go in there, get a cup of coffee, get up to cruising altitude, maybe have a sticky bun or something, and then relax. So let's get inside, get that coffee. Well, that definitely hit the spot. Let's get airside. Depending on how long it takes to get through passport control at Dusseldorf Airport will determine how much time I've got in the city centre. I calculate at an absolute maximum 3.5 hours. That also includes transfer time from the airport into the city centre and back again. Fortunately, it's only about 15 minutes each way, but boy, this is one of the craziest day trips I think I've ever done. Gate 29. At least the flight's on time, that's a good thing.
We got there about
Halten Sie Ihren Sicherheitsgurt geschlossen, bis das...
The flight arrived on time and the clock is now ticking. Okie dokie, 9:55. It didn't take too long to get through passport control, but there is an S-Bahn service which goes into the city centre, but to get there you have to catch a monorail. This is Germany after all. And of course that wasn't just any old monorail, it was a suspended monorail. Right, where is this train station? I was really hoping to buy a return ticket just to save a bit of time, but it's always just one ways they sell. But anyway, we're going down here in about 3 minutes. There's a train. Okie dokie, welcome to the centre of Dusseldorf. I'd sort of calculated it would take maybe about an hour to get from aircraft door to the Hauptbahnhof. It's taken 55 minutes, that was a good estimate. But the actual portion from the terminal to here took about half an hour because I had to wait for the suspended monorail and also the S-Bahn. So half an hour going back. It is currently 10:25. I want to be back here by 12:30 and making a serious inroads into the travel going back, otherwise I'm going to start worrying. So we've got about 2 hours here. I'm going to go back in there because there's an Adeka supermarket and there's some foodie things I need to get while I'm in Germany. Well, I can say 100% that did not go according to plan. It was just actually a small supermarket. I expected it to be small, but not that small. That's like smaller than our Tesco Express. It was really quite small. And the two things I was trying to get, firstly, Jaeger sauce. Now, it's like a mushroom sauce and it's used for chicken and pork. And you can get something similar to that in the UK, but it's not quite the same. There is something different in Jaeger sauce. Couldn't get that anywhere. And the other thing, you'll laugh, foam bananas. Now Haribo do these banana-shaped yellow, basically foam bananas. And it's very hard to get them in the UK, but you can sometimes get them in Europe. And they're really good for munching when you're doing a lot of editing. And nope. So I've got my eyes open. There is a Lidl down that way, but I'm imagining it's going to have the same sort of stuff as my local Lidl in Paisley, so I'm not even going to bother going down there. Where am I going now? Well, there's a food market down here, which according to Google should be open. And that will occupy the best part of an hour, because at around about 11:30, in about 55 minutes time, I hopefully will be settling down to a schnitzel and a beer. And I've already sussed two places that do schnitzel and they should be open. Wish me luck. Yes, I do like Dusseldorf. In fact, I've had this kind of thing about Dusseldorf since the 1980s. Here we go with a bit of a story. When I was living in Sydney, I started a five-a-side football team with a mate of mine, Greg. And he lived in the northwest suburb of Concord in Sydney. And I used to follow the German football back in the 1980s. And we were thinking, what are we going to call our team? And I said, what about Fortuna Concord? And that was inspired by the local team here, Fortuna Dusseldorf. Boy, we were bad. We were really, really bad. But funnily enough, we weren't as bad as the other teams. They were dreadful. And we actually managed to win some games. So what does Fortuna mean in Fortuna Dusseldorf? Well, in Latin it means luck. But it's also thought that Fortuna was the name of a bakery way back in the early days of the club. Anyway, I'm rambling. Where's this market? Because I was just thinking, I can't remember what the market is like, although I do know they do fruit, vegetables, that kind of stuff. They might do schnitzel there. That would kill two birds with one stone, wouldn't it? I must say it's very pleasant here in Dusseldorf today. Not a cloud in the sky, 21 degrees Celsius. Maximum of 23, 24. Unlike Glasgow and Edinburgh, where it was more like winter weather this morning. Boy, it was cold in Edinburgh, and boy, was it wet in Glasgow. Now, according to Google Maps, if I just keep walking down this road, I'll come to the market. So if you had a chance to check out the new merch store yet, it's doing pretty well. planestraineseverything.com, that will take you straight in. There's lots of useful stuff that you didn't realize you needed, and all those perfect little gifts for people. And even though this is being filmed in June, it's never too early to start thinking about Christmas. I said the C word. An observation. In the UK, if you're crossing a road with a traffic light, you'll press the button and more often than not bother waiting for the green man. But here in Germany, everyone waits for the green man. I don't know if it's legal or whether it's just a German thing, but you do not cross the road on a red man. Oh, no. And here we are. Time to go into stealth mode. Sadly, that didn't go according to plan. It's flowers, it's fresh fruit, vegetables, and a lot of artisan kind of foods. But there is a Riva, and I'm going to go in there because that's a supermarket. That didn't go entirely to plan, just partially to plan. They had the Wiener art, the Viennese style mushroom sauce. So I got a few of those packets, and despite having a huge array of Haribo, they didn't have any bananas. Right, time we got back to looking for schnitzel. There are two places, as I mentioned. The first one I'm going to see is at Rosie's, which is down here, then a right turn somewhere. But I have to cross the road because the pavement's blocked. Okay.
Ist kleiner geworden.
It's 11:15 in the morning and I'm thinking about lunch. It is a bit early, but then I have been up since, well, in fact I've been up 24 hours now. The first wave of tiredness hit me when I was on that Easyjet flight, but I think once I get a schnitzel and maybe a beer, I'll be fine for the rest of this journey. Yeah, I was thinking they probably don't get too many people asking for schnitzels and a beer at this time in the morning. I mean, if I went into a bar at 11:15 and asked for a beer, they'd probably think you have a drinking problem. But if you go into a restaurant and ask for a schnitzel at 11:15, they're going to think you've got a schnitzel problem. Yeah. Well, good news, I found Rosie's. It's open and I'm going to check the menu. Just for a moment I thought that wasn't going to go according to plan. They have schnitzel on the menu, but it's the lunch menu and it starts at 12 and it's only 11:20 at the moment. But I said, any chance I can get a schnitzel? Not a problem. Yeah, no problem. Very accommodating, the Germans. And a beer as well, a large one. So was that schnitzel worth being up for 24 hours? You bet, that was delicious. Rosie's is a local restaurant and all you could hear around it was German accents, no tourists. As a result, the schnitzel was made correctly. Too often when you go to a tourist area, you get what's called schnitzel, but it's just basically chucked together. But that was done correctly. The pork was, just crossing the lights here, changing. The pork was hammered to within a millimetre of its life, which it's supposed to be, and the pork had been obviously dried a bit before the breadcrumbs were applied, because if you don't do that, if the meat is still wet, the breadcrumbs come off. But that was stuck on. That was the way a schnitzel should be. They did me a favour. They didn't have to do a schnitzel before 12. 11:20 I stroll up. Yeah, they did it for me. That was delicious. Right, midday. I had hoped to be back at the Hauptbahnhof at the absolute latest at 12:30. I think I'm okay. Well, we'll head back to the station now. Well, this adventure isn't over yet. I've got 2 flights to catch to get home. I've got Eurowings from Dusseldorf to Stansted, a 5-hour connection there, and then Easyjet from Stansted to Glasgow. What I will do for 5 hours at Stansted, I'm not quite sure, but the word Wetherspoons comes to mind. Right, down here I need to do a left turn and that'll take me straight to the Hauptbahnhof. It is 12:15. My flight leaves in 2.5 hours. This can be done. Platform 14, naturally at the far end of the station. Oh, that was a close one.
Liebe Fahrgäste, herzlich willkommen in der S1 nach Düsseldorf Flughafen Terminal. Wir wünschen Ihnen eine angenehme Reise.
Okay, not quite sure where I'm going. Absolutely no signs for the monorail, but everyone seems to be heading in that direction. Well, that train that I caught from Dusseldorf Hauptbahnhof used a different line from the one I used to get into the city centre because it dropped me off right at the airport. I was expecting to find the monorail somewhere. No wonder I was thrown a bit. This is pretty impressive, isn't it? I had hoped to get currywurst here as well while I was in Germany, and there is a place back there that sells it, but I'm absolutely stuffed after that schnitzel. It's just not going to happen. I think earlier I said I was changing planes in Stansted. That's force of habit. Now I'm actually changing planes in Birmingham. Better get the city right, huh? And here we are at Birmingham Airport, not Stansted. I told you I was tired. Yeah, Eurowings. I don't actually mind Eurowings. The flight was about 20% full, so loads of space. And although I didn't sleep, I think I kind of nodded off in that kind of a twilight zone between being awake and being asleep for about 30 minutes. I remember waking up and my mouth was as dry as an Arab statue. Right, we are here now for 5 hours. I might go inside, see if I can get a coffee. I might actually get a Greggs. I've just spotted Greggs over there. I'm starting to get a little bit peckish. Wow, this gives you an idea of how much traffic there is with Jet 2 out of Birmingham. And so having passed through security for the 3rd time today, I'm heading into the lounge here at Birmingham. Four and a half hours here at Birmingham and I'm ready to go home. Gates 1 to 20. They're still not committing themselves as to what gate number, but at least I know what part of the airport I'm heading for. Well, that's 34 hours without sleep. I'm a little bit tired. I'm going to be home in 20 minutes and in my bed in 21 minutes. Was it worthwhile? Well, I'll tell you what, that schnitzel was amazingly good. I really enjoyed the schnitzel, but when you consider the entire day has been spent travelling to and from Dusseldorf just for 3.5 hours, probably not a good example of time management, was it? So I might, if I do another one of these, have a little bit more than 3.5 hours. That is cutting it to the absolute minimum. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.